मेधां मे इन्द्रो ददातु मेधां देवी सरस्वती मेधां मे अश्विनावुभौ आधत्तां पुष्करस्रजाः आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमधोबलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मये सन्तु ओम शांति 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 ही. Hearty fraternal greetings and good wishes to all the brothers and the sisters. Last evening we were speaking about the cooperation that is sought from the Lord of Earth and his team of his group of beings who are subtle, causal and even gross. The King Prithu could establish the fourth tissue which we call the blood. The preparation of blood in relation to the beings of this planet is what is brought about with the cooperation of the North. And we should know that blood relates to the energy of Mars. Energy of Mars. The Martian energy which carries blood as its theme was prepared to enable awakening of the beings and also enable relating with the beings and thereby establishing a happy coexistence on the planet. The blood that is prepared within the system is normally prepared in the head. That's why the scripture says King Prithu has collected the milking of the energy coming from the Lord of North with the cooperation of the cow which we call the earth. For that he used a vessel which is the skull. Skull is the vessel. That's what the scripture says. Meaning the formation of blood happens in the skull. Where does it happen in the skull? It is very clearly said by Master Jwalpur in White Magic that the energy of blood and the energy of life, it emerges from the same center as it emerges from as the awareness as such. Where awareness springs, there also from out of the awareness the life springs, and the life builds the tissue of blood. So the tissue of blood can be improved upon by relating more to life. To relate more to life, one can relate to Om. Om is the source from which the life force emerges, and then that life force is in its involutionary process tends to be pulsation. Therefore, relating to pulsation regularly also helps in keeping the blood streams intact and also in keeping the blood streams clean. And this pulsation further evolves as respiration. That's why in yoga practices a lot of respiratory practices are suggested. Why? Because there is cleansing of blood. A clean blood enables a clean awareness as well. It is blood and awareness together. They function in the form. And then the scripture here says that the tissue of blood is the vehicle of the life force. The tissue of blood is the vehicle of life force. And it emerges, the life force as such emerges from Om, from the involutionary process of the sacred word. The life force comes down. That life force finds its vehicle as the tissue of blood. So the tissue of blood holds the life force, and the life force is held by the incoming sacred sound Om. From Om to life force to blood, and blood circulating through the entire nervous system. So if the blood is kept clean, it supports the awareness, and you would have a clean blood enables clean mind. Clean blood enables a clean mind. And the blood as such has its cycles. It has the cycle of Mars. Mars. The cycle of Mars takes about 45 days to transit a sign. It takes about 1.5 years to cover the zodiac. So when you are working with the blood streams and enabling the bloodstream to be clean, which would enable functioning of awareness much better, which will also enable resistance of disease, decay and death. For all that, the cycles we have to follow are that of Martian cycle. So if you relate, that's why in India they take up the consecrations which are called mandala consecrations, mandala dikshan. The mandala consecration is that you pick up a particular activity of cleansing. When Mars enters into a particular sun sign, till it leaves that sun sign, it could be around 40-45 days. 40 to 45 days it takes. You may take up such consecration even for an year, in which case it could be around 18 months. Could be around 18 months. That's how you have to use the interlinking for working purposes. Anyway, at the end of the milking process, I will also relate the planets and the sun signs in relation to these milking processes. So therefore, it has helped to build life activity, an activity of relating, an activity of exchange and building in togetherness what is to be built upon earth. So without life principle, nothing can work, and that life principle, the vehicle for the life principle is the blood tissue. So the blood tissue is what is prepared to enable the beings to relate. This is one dimension. Then you hear in secret doctrine about Fohat. Fohat digs holes in space. Fohat digs holes in space. That's how it is said. Fohat is the black hole. Is the black hole which causes absence of consciousness. Fohat, F-O-H-A-T. It's a statement coming from Madame Blavatsky. Fohat digs holes in space. When there is a hole in the space, that is what we call the black hole and all that. So that black hole is a a representation of absence of consciousness. Absence of consciousness is what is called death. Absence of consciousness is what is called death. And the absence of consciousness is also there in creation. It also has a role to play. So what it does is, it separates the life force from the form, and then there is absence of consciousness. When life force is disassociated with form, then there is absence of consciousness. So the serpents that we speak of, are but representation of this principle. Serpents. In the cosmos, there is this principle of black holes, which represent absence of consciousness. They are called in scriptures as serpents, because the serpents can cause loss of consciousness. When a cobra bites, the awareness is gone, the life is gone. So that's how availing the black hole as a means, serpents are prepared on the planet, and these serpents carry the energy of black as their poison. So this poisonous creatures are also brought onto the planet. There are many poisonous beings on the planet. This Fohat, whom Madame Blavatsky refers to, is whom in the Indian scriptures called as Takshaka. Takshaka means the black hole. If you see, some of you who know the story of Parikshit, it is Takshaka that bites him, meaning he causes loss of consciousness. The form, the disassociation of life from the form. So for a moment he loses his consciousness and he moves up into higher planes. This is necessary to be on the planet because all beings on the planet are essentially mortal. The beings on planet are essentially mortal. Death is but a necessity step for mortals because they have taken birth. We believe that we are born, so we experience the death. But the truth is we are unborn. We are unborn, but we believe that we are born, that we grow, that we stay, that we recede, and that we die. So the principle of death is also brought upon earth. Mortality to the beings of earth. That's why earth is called a dwelling place of mortals. Martya Loka, meaning a plane where death is normal, because there is an illusion of birth, so there is equally an illusion of death. And this can be overcome only through continuity of consciousness. And there is the wisdom coming from Vidyadharas. We spoke of them before. Vidyadharas, the embodiments of wisdom. They give us the clue that there is no death. And there are practices which will enable your consciousness to be transcending death. Meaning, you accept that the death is to the form but not to you. That the death is to the form but not to you. Death to form is acceptable provided we remember that we are not the form. Basically, we are so deeply associated and integrated with the form, are so intertwined with the form, we generally feel that we are our form. But the wisdom tells us form is the dwelling house for the being. So when you shift your identity from form to the indweller of the form, loss of form will not cause death to us. Loss of form will not cause death to us because we know it is not we are, it is not what we are, it is our dwelling place. Even if you lose the dwelling place, you are still there. Isn't it? When there is a cyclone or a storm or something and you lose your house, you are still there. Likewise, the form is a dwelling place. This awareness is what is being taught through wisdom, that you are the indweller of the form, but you are not the form. You have developed the form. You are there within the form, and because of you the form developed. So whatever is developed by you is not what you are. It is extraneous to you. So this knowledge to be gained, only to gain that knowledge we are born in the plane of mortals. We are all born in the plane of mortals. Why? Because even earlier, when we went into Pradaya, we had a very deep identity with our form. Until date, we are not able to overcome the idea that we are our form. We should be able to overcome the idea that we are not our form, we dwell in the form. So this distinction has to be constantly recollected, and we should also see how we are without the form. So all yoga practices are practices of discipleship is to distinguish the form aspect from the life aspect. The form aspect shall have to be distinguished from the life aspect. Life continues, but the form does not. So what is it that the serpent does? It disassociates the life from the form. Since we believe that we are in the form, we feel that we die. So that is what is called a loophole in awareness. A loophole in awareness. We have the loophole in awareness, which provides the possibility of experiencing the death. What is that loophole? Our excessive identity with our form and our loss of identity with ourselves. Every time when we meet, we speak, we are souls, we have the personality. But as we move out of the classroom, we are more our personality and form than the soul as such. The constant recollection would enable us to realize that we are the souls and we have the form and we have a personality. Even if the form drops off, you can move along with the personality. The personality also follows you. When you get back into another form, it is the same personality that functions. We can be identified with our personalities when we are reborn. We can be identified through our personalities when we are reborn, because each personality is different from the other. Each personality is different from the other. Isn't it? By our main traits or major traits, they come back with us when we go out of this form and we are reborn. We come back with the same traits. So when we observe the traits, oh, this is that person as this. Normally I give the example of ice cream, When Joseph is there, I have to speak of ice cream. If someone who is very fond of ice cream, he departs. When he comes back, right from the second year, he is after ice creams. So normally we are born in familiar conditions which we have left. So that's why we say, oh, the grandfather has come back as grandson. or the great-grandfather has come back as great-grandson. We try to say that there is some truth in it because our traits, they continue to be with us. Even when we have changed the form. So there should be a facility for release from the form, and then you pick up another form. So mortals have to learn it. Why death is only on earth, why not in heaven? They don't need it because they know that they are not their form. We the mortals, we believe that we are our form, and we have to pass this test that we are not the form. We dwell in this form, and we should learn how to get out of the form even before we die. Even before we die, if we learn how to get out of this form, then you clearly see that the form is over there, you are not in it, you are out of it. That is what we call the third initiation, which we are all very fond of, but we don't work for it. We don't work for it is very clear because we don't remember that we are not our form. So therefore there is need to experience death. Many times you die, then slowly you learn the lesson that I am not the form, I continue to live, changing form to form. Many times we have cast off our form, and many times we have gathered the form. So therefore, to teach this knowledge, death has become a necessity for mortals. Death is but a necessity for mortals to overcome the ignorance of birth and death. Therefore, the King Prithu, along with the serpent of the skies, that's what we call Takshaka, or the fohat. They are the serpents of the higher planes, meaning the black hole exists at every plane for loss of consciousness. So they have utilized to prepare snakes, cobras, reptiles, and all kinds of poisonous creatures. So it is, meaning the activity of Scorpio. Meaning the activity of Scorpio has been brought down, and the related experiences are given, and we are informed that poison causes death, and there is a way to antidote the poison. That's also there. Just as there are scorpions, snakes, there are also eagles. The antidoting, an eagle is an antidote to a cobra. The eagle in us is the pulsating principle. The eagle in us is the pulsating principle. The serpent in us is our crawling upon matter, meaning our craving for matter. As much as you crave for matter, so much you are afraid of death. Only horizontal movement. That's what we do as we wake up in the morning in the world of material. We keep on living for material, gathering material, storing material, exchanging material, it's all material. Material is representative of form. So as much as you are associated with the form and material, so much you experience the fear of death. But if you relate to the pulsating principle, which is the eagle in you, it lifts you up from the matter. It lifts you up from matter into higher planes. That also will come later, that the King Prithu also sought the cooperation of Garuda and brought down certain other beings upon earth. So for the moment, it is the serpent, Takshaka, meaning the one that causes loss of consciousness. It was brought down through the hole. Kannamanu Patra. కన్నమను పాత్ర అంటే ఏం చెప్తారు? It's a part with the whole. That's how the scripture says. He collected the energy of Pohat, the black hole, into a part which has a hole. Very symbolic, no? You cannot hold it. A part with a hole, how can it hold the energy of the whole of the space, HOLE whole? The very nature is that wherever it goes, it causes a hole. Even if you collect into a part, it makes a hole. Anything it can make way. That's how the symbolically the scripture says that it is collected into a part which has a hole, because it escapes. It escapes. That's why the serpents also live in the holes. Serpents do not live in the mud hills or mole hills that the ants build. They are very high and they are visible. They don't live in it. We think it is living there. It doesn't live. It lives down under the hole. Because wherever it enters, everything it gives way. That's how death enters in a mysterious manner. So through a mysterious vessel, the mysterious energy is connected and is anchored on earth, and that is what exists as poison on the planet. So therefore the poisonous creatures also came to be as an essential part of the planetary life. So many things have happened, so that is one of them. So therefore, when this serpent touches, what happens? The pulsation stops. When the serpent, which we call death, when it touches, what happens is the pulsation stops. When the pulsation stops, we declare that he is dead. Isn't it? That the soul departed. It is no more at function. By suspending the pulsating principle, the serpent causes disassociation of the being from the form. Prana, which pulsates, when it is the antidote of it reaches it, the prana disappears and then the being also disappears. Consequently, the form remains dead. So this is how the principle also came to be upon earth. Actually, this I should have covered yesterday. For want of time, I did not. This topic should have been covered on Saturday evening, but not on Sunday, no? But we also have resurrection today along with the death. The resurrection, it is very appropriately said in the New Testament that the resurrection is on Sunday. The resurrection is on Sunday. God knows when the death happened, because it was not on Saturday. It says 3 days, after crucifixion, 3 days after. And it is believed to be Friday. From Friday to Saturday, how could it be 3 days? From Friday to Saturday, it can be 3 days if you see the day in terms of moon phase. That's the key. That's the key. In ancient times, days were not counted as solar days, as I informed you before. The days were counted as moon phases. For example, in 2 days, 3 moon phases can be covered. In 1.5 days also 3 moon phases happen sometimes. Because moon sometimes moves faster, sometimes slow. It is It has an inconsistent speed in movement, and there is a periodicity in relation to it. If you observe the calendar about the moon phases, some phases are shorter, some phases are longer, but it's not always the same. So in 3 days means in 3 moon phases, which happened in about midnight of Friday to Sunday morning. Midnight of Friday, and then that is 6 hours. Saturday 24 hours, 30 hours, and then another 6 hours, 36 hours. In 36 hours, which would mean 1.5 days, 3 moon phases passed through. That's why the scripture says 3 days after the Christ resurrected himself. Those days are not the days of 24 hours. Those are the days relating to the 3 moon phases. So that's a separate story. For the moment, what we speak is the relevance of bringing the energy of poison onto earth and the beings that contain it. And we, the humans, also have poison in us. We, the beings, also have the poison in us. And that poison emerges at the hour of death. It emerges at the hour of death, and during life it expresses as our negatives, like negative speech, negative thought, causing depression to the surrounding energy. It generally functions to depress the energy, not to uplift the energy. But finally it also functions to separate the life from the form. So this is one dimension that has happened. Then the 12th dimension is bringing the energy of Taurus in the form of a calf, bringing the energy of Taurus in the form of a calf to visitate the entire earth, starting from grass. Grass just grows like that everywhere. What for? For the animals to eat. Why Taurus carries this energy? The sun ray of Taurus is related to bull, isn't it? And the calf here is a he calf, a male calf, Kodeduda. A male calf represents the early rays of the sun, the sunrise rays of the sun in Taurus are called the he calf, the male calf. That's where we have to correlate with the help of astrology. Astrology speaks of Taurus, the bull. An young bull is what? What is an young bull? When bull is the sunlight, the sun ray of the sun, the young bull is the sunrise time and the sunset time. These are the times where vegetations receive lot of nourishment. That's why every gardener gives water to gardens very early in the morning and in the evening before sunset. Only lazy gardeners will offer water around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock because they cannot get up. But the best time to give water is just before the sunrise, just before the sunset. That's the time when the golden rays are present. When the golden rays are present, the grass and the vegetation on planet grows well. So here, symbolically, it is said that an young he calf, ఏమంటాము ఇంగ్లీష్లో మనకి తెలీదు, కోడి దూడ. దూడ అంటే ఆడ కావచ్చు, మగ కావచ్చు, కోడెదూడ. That's why I am saying he calf, male calf. A male calf was brought down. The energy of male calf was brought down by the King Prithu, meaning he has linked the sun ray, the rays of the sun during the sunrise and the sunset. He linked it with the earth, and those rays are golden rays. That's why they are called he-calves. These rays contribute to spontaneous growth of greenery on earth. Greenery on earth. When there is abundant greenery, the cattle can live, isn't it? You can't have cattle in deserts, can you? You can't have cattle in deserts. You can't have cattle in cities. Why? Because in the city there is no grass to eat. Where should the cattle be? It should be where there is abundant grass, abundant greenery. They live by the green grass, the green leaves, and then all that is vegetated is the food for all cattle and animals. Except those wild animals, all other animals, they live by vegetation. So that vegetation is brought in with the help of linking the energies of Taurus, sun in Taurus, with the energies of earth. So that's how the animals are supported. Animals are supported. That's the reason every time the people collect the cattle, take them to green places and let them graze for the day, and in the evening they are brought back to their places of rest. Places of rest. When there is too much ice in one place, the cattle is moved to another place where there is grass, where there is vegetation. If there is not much grass around, you cannot have milk around. And when we eat the vegetation, the animals have the vegetation, it is their food. For the humans also, the vegetables are the food. Only because we eat vegetables, only because the animals and the humans, we eat vegetables, therefore we yield milk. If there is no vegetable, there is no yielding of milk, either by the animal or by man. So that's why the month of Taurus is considered most important for many reasons. We say in astrology that the female energy of Taurus is cow. The male energy of the Taurus is the bull. And the dawn and dusk energy of Taurus is the calf. We also say the bull is the sun in Taurus. The cow is the moon in Taurus. The calf is Mercury in Taurus. That's so. So when we speak of the calf, we should think of the Mercury in Taurus. Likewise, when we speak of the calf, it belongs to the category of the bull. The bull means Taurus, and since it is calf, it means the golden rays of the sun in the month of Taurus. This kind of deciphering is needed to read scriptures. Okay, లేకపోతే ఏం అర్థం కాదు. Otherwise we don't understand. When such things flash in you, you feel very joyful. You feel very joyful. You should not feel proud. So that's how from out of this activity there is growth of grass and vegetation, and this grass and this vegetation has become food for animals and humans. Consequently, there was milk on the planet. Milk coming through the animals, milk coming through the female bodies once they deliver through pregnancy. That's how nourishment is brought to animals and to the humans with the energies of Taurus as they are transmitted upon earth during the sunrise and sunset hour. That is one dimension which is called the calf brought down to bring down the milk for the earth. Then there is the from Leo, the energies are linked to this earth. From Leo. Therefore, we have such creatures as leonine beings. Leonine beings. The earth is linked with leonine energies. So, leonine energies, noble qualities, straightforwardness, no politics. A true Leo does not play politics. He is straight, he is noble, he is protective. These qualities are brought down. Not only that, the lions were brought down, the wild animals were brought down. All wild animals manifest through the sun sign Leo. All wild animals. Among them, lion is called the king because it is noble. Lion is called the king because it is noble and it is the most valorous one. It's not easy to conquer a lion by other animals. Therefore, this is the 13th dimension that was brought down, that the wild animals along with normal animals, the next step was to bring in the wild animals. We have such of those things mentioned in Purusha Suktam also. Tasmat jata ajavayaha, like that. What are all the various species that are brought down? There is a list of it in Purusha Suktam also. So these wild animals do exist in us. Every animal quality is presented in the human. Some behave like lions, some behave like serpents, some behave like fox, some behave like cows, some behave like bulls, isn't it? Some behave like fish. So there are all the 12 zodiacal signs, their representation. So the leonine qualities were brought down, and then along with this Leo energy, one killing the other for the sake of food has come to. For the sake of food. One killing the other for the sake of food. It's law. If human eating animal for the sake of hunger is part of the law. Animal eating animal for the sake of hunger is part of the law. Likewise, one is set to check by the other. There are limits set to beings by one being food for the other. Do you know to whom the humans are the food? The humans are food for the devas. We are consumed and eventually we are gone. Every lower plane is food for the higher plane. Every lower plane is food for the higher plane. The lower plane is absorbed into the higher plane. Until Brahman, all is food. That's how Veda says. Until Brahman, all is food. The lower plane is food for the higher plane. The whole system came through sun, and again the same sun draws from everything. during the sunrise hours and sunset hours, the sun gives. During the noon hours, the sun receives. You are totally devitalized if you are exposed to sun rays during the noon hours or 3 hours before noon and 3 hours after noon. That's the time when sun draws from. So the giver is also the one who takes away. That's why the higher planes, for them the lower planes are food. Just like for a teacher, the students are the food. For the teacher, the students are the food. He keeps on eating them. Everything is the lower energy emerges from the higher, and it is drawn back into the higher. That's how it is. Drawn back into the higher. So coming back to the theme, the wild animals and the activity of killing for eating also came to me. Killing for eating. Killing for the sake of killing is not allowed. Just going to forest for hunting is not allowed. You cannot kill for nothing. Only if you are hungry and if you have no other way to survive, you can kill and eat, which is valid for humans and animals. There are very beautiful stories in relating to it. Once I narrated, I think maybe in US. Once there was a king by name CB. Today the class may extend to complete the theme. Once there was a king by name CB. Was a very great king. He is thorough with law, and has been known as a great giver. His name is CB. SIBI. CB. So once the Lord of the King of Celestials wanted to test him. Is he really so great? He sought the cooperation of the Lord of Fire, Agni. The King Celestial sent word for the angel of fire and said that down under on earth there is a king who seems to be very great, very noble, very sacrificial, and he only lives for welfare of others. He even does not care for his own life. This is what I listen about him. Let us, two of us, test him. Test him how noble he is, how sacrificial he is. So the King Celestial, he took the form of a vulture. And then the angel of fire, he took the form of a beautiful dove. So normally a vulture is after a dove because the dove is the food for the vulture. So the dove started flying towards the palace of the king. The dove. This I narrated in Argentina. I remember now. In Argentina. The dove rushed towards the palace of the king, and then the vulture also followed it. So the dove was faster enough according to the plan of the two, and it reached the living room of the king and came through the window and just landed itself on the lap of the king and said, "Please save me, there is a vulture. There is a vulture that intends eating me, and I am running for life. And you are the king that protects all. Don't you protect me?" The king says, yes, since I am the king and I have the duty to protect, I will give complete protection to you and protect you from anyone on the planet or anyone from any being from anywhere. I'll protect. Then came the vulture through the window. When the vulture came, the king looked at it. The vulture said, "Good morning, king," like that, and said, "The dough that is on your lap is what I wish to eat. I have been chasing it all the time. I have been chasing it all the time, and it landed on your lap. So I am to take my food. It is the law that I can eat when I am hungry. And I am very hungry. And I wish to eat this dough." Then the king said, I will arrange as much flesh as you need to eat. Leave this dough. I will satisfy your hunger. I will satisfy your hunger, but you don't have to necessarily eat this dough. Then the vulture said, I don't eat all kinds of flesh. I don't eat all kinds of flesh. I eat only very, very, very pure flesh. It should have very pure blood. See that dough, how pure it is. And how tasty would its flesh and blood be. This is what exactly I want. Just like we say, we just want a dosha, a very crisp dosha, with butter applied on it, or some such thing. Only that I want. Then the king said, I will arrange another dough if you want. He says, no. There is no dough of this purity. There is no dough of this purity, and I don't get birds with the flesh of this dove's purity. So I don't mind taking flesh from you as an alternative from this dove, but it should be equal in its purity. Because I am very austere in my practices of eating. Chaste food, pure food. Then the king said, how do you see my flesh? How do you see my flesh? Then the vulture looks at the king. He says, yes. I can't say your flesh is less pure than the purity of the Buddha. You are a very pure person. I can see through the flesh. So you can offer your flesh. I will be satisfied with your flesh. But do you think you offer your flesh for the sake of this little dove? The king says, yes. So then the vulture said, I am not an ambitious person. I am not an avaricious person. I am not an avaricious creature. I am not an ambitious creature. I would only take as much flesh as the dove has. I don't take more. I don't take less. I don't take more grams of flesh or less grams of flesh than what this dove carries. The king was very happy that the vulture also has some good regulations. It also has very good regulations. It is self-regulated. He said, I agree. So they arrange a balance in which the dove is kept to see how much it weighs. So same weight of flesh should be given from the body of the king. So the king is very muscular, They do a lot of exercise, they eat well and they are ready to fight. Very muscular like our Schwarzeneggers, Arnold Schwarzenegger, or robots. So he took one muzzle of him, the king. He just cut off one muzzle from himself and put it in the other side of the pan, of the balance. but the dove was weighing more. He was surprised. The dove was weighing more than the flesh of his right arm. Then he took away from the left arm and kept it there. Even then the dove was weighing more. That was very surprising to the king. Then he took from the flesh from the forearms, kept it there. Still the dove was weighing more, heavier. Then the king thought, let me take some flesh from the shoulders, keep it there. Still the dove was weighing more. Then the king understood that this is not a normal dove. This is not a normal dove. That is why this vulture is after it. So therefore better I offer some more flesh. He took the flesh from the thighs and offered. He took the flesh from the calves and offered it. But still the dove was weighing more. Then the king, okay, if that is the case, let me myself sit in the pan. He took to the other pan, he has completely offered himself into the pan. Then the dove weighed equal. Then the dove weighed. Then the vulture said, just for the sake of a dove, would you offer yourself totally to be eaten away by me? Yes. Yes, because I am the king. I have to protect the one who seeks protection. You can eat me. Then the vulture was so pleased, not to eat, but to appear himself. The vulture appeared in his true form as a celestial king, and the dove appeared as the angel of fire and said, we are so thoroughly pleased with you. We are so thoroughly pleased with you. We have heard of you. We have heard of you. And we wanted to know really how noble you are and how you would honor the law. The law is, when someone is hungry, the king has to offer food. And if someone is hungry, it is not unrighteous to eat that which is its food. For the vulture to eat the dove is the law, when it is hungry, not when it is not hungry. So you honor the law, and in honoring the law and also honoring your kingly duty, you have completely offered yourself. It's a man sacrifice, total sacrifice. Tasmad yajnat sarvahutaha, like that we sing in Purusha Sukta, all offering. So then the King Celestial said, the moment you complete your duties on earth, there is a very highly decorated seat by my side, arranged for you in the heaven forever. This is my standing offer for you. And both of them, the angel of fire and the King Celestial blessed them. So that's how the story is. Why I narrated this story is, when you are hungry and when there is a prey for you, the law allows you to eat it. The law. That's how eating non-vegetarian came to be on the planet even as early as Lemurian time. As early as Lemurian times, though they are considered to be very sacred times, non-vegetarian food also came to be. Vegetarian food is in the previous dimension. Non-vegetarian food is also allowed. That's how it has happened. Then came the 14th dimension. The 14th dimension is the bringing down the energies of Garuda through Sagittarius. Energies of Garuda through Sagittarius. Energies of wild animals through Leo. Like that, energies of poisonous animals through Scorpio. And so here what happened, they brought in the energies of Garuda and enabled reproduction and multiplication of birds and the other insects that fly, flying insects. See, the principle of Garuda and the principle of mosquito are the same. Do you ever realize that? The principle of Garuda, the eagle, and the principle of mosquito, it's just the same, because an eagle flies, a mosquito also flies. Isn't it? So from the most predominant flying being to a very small insect which flies, Tasmad Chakre Vayavyan, like that we say in Purusha Sukta. Vayavyan means rivers that move in air. They are all brought down by linking the energies of Sagittarius to this earth, thereby bringing in flying beings. Flying beings. So the faculty to fly is injected upon the beings of the planet, and therefore humans can also fly. And therefore humans can also fly, and the flying principle is installed in the humans initially as lungs. Those are the wings. The lungs within the cage of bones. The lungs within the cage of bones are but the wings which are caged. Our wings are caged, they work as lungs. But utilizing the lungs, we can develop the principle of pulsation in us. And this pulsation has its ability to lift you up through Udana and Vyana. Udana and Vyana principles. So this flying principle is brought down to earth in association with the Sagittarian energies, and as a consequence there are so many flying beings upon earth. So many flying beings. Not only eagles but also crows, doves, up to mosquitoes, flies, the fly that we see here and there. Whenever you see that, you should remember it has one ability better than us, it can fly. We should be appreciative of mosquito or fly. When there is a fly near your eating dish, you will just fan it out now, so that it goes away. But so little, but it can fly. So big, we cannot fly. For the beings to gain the ability to fly, that is the purpose. One day the humans have to fly. They have to become superhuman. They have to become Superman. The age for Superman is acquired age. So man should be able to fly. We are now flying with the help of flying machines. Now we are flying with the help of flying machines. But a time will come where we fly ourselves. Further, the possibilities are already established as potentials upon earth. So that is one dimension that has come to be. And then what are you? The 15th dimension. The 15th dimension is the principle of banyan tree is brought here. The principle of banyan, meaning auto-multiplication. Auto-multiplication. See, if it is any other tree, if you plant the seed, it grows into one tree. Isn't it? Normally, if you plant a mango seed, a mango tree comes. If you plant a banana seed, a banana tree comes. If you plant an orange tree, only an orange tree comes. But if you plant a banana seed, One seed is enough to bring forth many banana trees, many banyan trees. That is the speciality of banyan tree. The speciality of banyan. As the banyan grows and branches out, the branch takes to the roots and then brings out another banyan tree. You don't have to look for another seed. One seed is enough. It can occupy the whole area through multiplication, self-multiplication. That is the speciality of banyan tree. It can spread all over, grow into from center to circumference. It keeps on growing, and multiple trees happen from one tree. Because the root, when the branch becomes the root takes firm hold into the earth and again grows into a tree and then gives out a branch, and then the branch becomes a root. The root becomes a tree. The tree gives out a branch. It continuously happens. Continuously. The world's largest banyan tree is in the zoological park in Kolkata. The world's largest banyan tree is in the zoological park near Kolkata nowadays. But that is what we say because we only see trees where humans are habited. There may be trees in forests where we do not know. Among what we have located, the biggest is near Kolkata. But the principle of banyan tree is it's an ever-growing thing. It's ever-growing. This dimension is there with man also. He can sow seeds which can be ever multiplying. Ever multiplying. See, the seed of hierarchy has grown global and it has many more joining as its members. That which we call the Maitreya community. It number continues to grow. So therefore, this multiplication principle is also established on if you implant a seed of a grain of rice, it comes back as 100 grains of rice. If you implant a grain of wheat, it comes back as 100 grains. Is it not a wonder of multiplication? I gave 5 coins to Dory this morning. If you sow the coin in that, it will not come back as 100 coins. Because the coin is man-made. But the principle of multiplication is very natural in creation. So if your thoughts are very natural, they also have their multiplication. The World Teacher Trust, just as an example, it started as a small thought in Visakhapatnam. So in a matter of not even 50 years, we are in the 40, we completed 46 years now. It is already spread all over. No? Why? Because it is in tune with the plan. It is in tune with the plan. So anything that is natural multiplies. Because nature multiplies. That's the principle of the creation itself. The creation itself is based on the principle of banyan tree. That's why in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord speaks of the tree which is in the inverse position. The roots are up there, the branches are down under. In the 15th chapter they speak of a tree of life, from unity to diversity. from unity to diversity, from subtle to gross, from head to toe. We are all grown from the top of the head to grow to the toe. We did when we were born. What is it that is first born? The head, isn't it? So from head to toe we have grown. But when we stand the other way, upside down. We stand upside down in a way. We don't stand on head. While the foundation is in the head. Our foundations are in our head, but not in our legs. Isn't it? Likewise, for the creation also, the foundation is in the most subtle. The most subtle, the foundations are. From there it slowly comes to subtlest, subtler, subtle, and then grass like that. In 7 gradations, from the most subtle to the densest grass, to the grasses, there is a manifestation, upside down man. So anything that starts in this manner is natural, from subtle to grass, from above downwards. So this principle of banyan is brought down to earth so that there is multiplication of that which is natural. So multiplication keeps on happening. The species also continue to happen, and that is what is brought out as a way to multiply creation, multiply the palms on earth. Who is growing the forest? It takes such a long effort for us, such a heavy effort for us to prepare a garden. But who is growing the forest? And what are the dimensions of the forest? And what are the dimensions of the garden? So when the growth is natural, it is very grand. When the growth is human-made, it has its limitations. Our gardens die if we don't give water and manure. Our gardens, they very easily die if we don't give water, if we don't give manure. But for the forests in Africa, forests in South America like Amazon, forests in India, forests in every land, who are growing them? What is the manure you give to the forest? What water supply we make? It's all nature. Nature, the principle with nature is the self-sustaining and self-multiplying. Self-sustaining and self-multiplying, just like one cell becoming two cells becoming many. From single cell it becomes a double cell. From double cell it keeps on multiplying itself. It has a process of multiplication. So this principle which exists in creation is linked to the earth so that everything multiplies by itself. The multiplier effect is the 15th dimension. Then the 16th dimension is bringing down the mountains and the hidden treasures of minerals, metals, precious stones, minerals, metals, precious stones, and then the symbolically it is said that they brought down the principle of mountain. He has, with the cooperation of the principle of mountain is what we call the Himavanta. The Himalayas, we say. There is a personification of Himalayas as a Himavanta, meaning icy peaks. So all the mountain ranges on the planet, they have been given the wealth of the planet's treasure. Planet's treasure. There is like what we call the minerals, the metals, precious metals, even Uranus for that matter, uranium. People are crazy after uranium now to prepare atomic energy. Earlier it was running after gold. Now it is running after uranium and plutonium. All these are all found only in the mountain range. So the treasures were brought to earth. When Mahabharata war was conducted, it was such an expenditure of wealth. There was little left to rebuild the kingdom. To rebuild the kingdom, there was little treasure left. The whole kingdom is destroyed. So how to build kingdom without wealth? Just like now we, in our Andhra Pradesh, very recently we were divided. Hyderabad is divided. That is another state. This is another state. And the people of Andhra Pradesh who are on the coast, they have to develop. But to develop, they don't have money. The chief of our state always goes to everyone. With a begging bowl. We want to build a capital to our state. You know, Hyderabad is worth thousands and thousands of billions of dollars. Such a huge thing. To build a city like that, how many years it will take and how much wealth you need for that. But what is a state without a capital? But how do you build it? Imagine Mahabharata war, it was a global war. In that war, almost all wealth is lost. And then Yudhishthira was to be coronated. Where will he be coronated? There is no palace. A king, a global king without a palace. Can you imagine? A global king without a palace and without a beautiful crown. Kiritaani kuda ledhu kada. All is gone. So they approached Lord Krishna. There is no more wealth on planet. How can we rebuild the whole kingdom? Then Lord Krishna, don't say there is no wealth on planet. The wealth is always in the mountain. The wealth is there in Mahabharata. He took Arjuna into intricate valleys of Himalayas and said, he showed an area. You dig in this area, you will get enormous wealth, enormous treasure. You cannot exhaust. Who arranged all this? We are busy digging and taking things, but how is it arranged in the subterranean place? According to Hindu mythology or Indian scriptures, the entire South America is full of precious metals, precious stones. According to the ancient scriptures, South America is called Ratna Garbha, pregnant with most precious metals, stones and whatnot, everything. Thank God till now people don't know, otherwise they start digging it. Even now, precious stones all over, they come from South America, South American continent. So, this kind of wealth is arranged by relating to the cosmos, by relating to the constellations, by relating to various energies that are around the earth. They were all heaped and peaks are arranged. So the work of Prithu was to arrange hidden treasures within these mountains. That's what the scripture says. So that's how 16 dimensions are brought to earth, and the earth is made very, very splendid. The riches, we cannot count its riches. We cannot. Our mind has very great limitation, and we think that the resources of earth are limited. There is no such thing as limited. There are no limited resources. They keep on happening on one side as we keep on using it. See, you milk the cow today, to the last drop. Can you say this? We have entirely milked the cow. Again by evening there is milk in the udder of the cow. Again there is milk. Again you milk it. Next day morning there is milk in the cow. Is it not farming? Is it not farming? Likewise, this earth is like a cow. It continues to receive energies from all the celestial bodies around it. From the sun, from the moon, from Mars, from Venus, from Jupiter, from Saturn, from Neptune, from Uranus, from Pluto, so many. They keep on supplying the energies, and earth is ever replenished. It continues to get replenished. So on account of this replenishment, there is no such thing as of exhaustion. We say the oil on the planet will be exhausted by such and such an year. But they don't see that subtly oil keeps forming. Just like if we take a vessel and go to the cow, and the cow gives only this much milk, like that. You know how much each time the cow gives, how much milk the cow gives. You carry accordingly the vessel. But it's only for the moment. Again the milk is formed. Likewise, every oil, every metal, every mineral, every precious stone keeps on forming in the earth. Because it is linked to principles which don't die. The mortal part of our being is connected to the immortal part of our being. The mortal part of our being is connected to the immortal part of our being. How much blood do we have in our body? It can be measured. Suppose every 3 months you give, let us say we have 70 liters of blood in us. It's quite a blood, 70 liters. Every quarter if you give a liter of blood as donation, in 70 quarters all blood should go, no? But is that so? As you give away blood as donation, blood keeps forming inside. It's not a limited quantity of blood that we carry. True, it is limited in the sense so much blood is there, so much water is there. But as you keep giving away the blood as donation, the blood is again formed in you. The blood is formed in you. Why? Because there is an immortal side of our being, while there is a mortal side of our being. So from the immortal to mortal, there is always supply of energy. That's how this earth, during the Lemurian times, through a grand event of advent of Prithu, has been made into a very splendorous place of dwelling. There is no hurry to get away from here. Staying here, you can experience the whole cosmos. The whole cosmos can be experienced staying here. And this body is made up of this earth. It is made up of this earth. It has the capability to give you all experience. All experience. See, beings on earth are people in other planes, they are slightly jealous of the beings on earth. You know, beings on other planes are slightly jealous of the beings on this earth. Why? Because this earth offers all possibilities. For example, the celestials, they cannot touch down here. An angel cannot touch down because its body does not enable him to touch down. So we can touch down, we can also ascend into the state of an angel. That's what the other day in Bangalore I was telling you. We can get to the cosmic plane as we reach our head. We can get into infernal planes by going down the Mooladhara. So we have possibilities to experience all planes of existence. All planes of. So to experience Venus, to experience Mercury, to experience Sun, to experience central Sun, to experience cosmic Sun, this body is fit enough. That's how the seers have experienced every dimension of the creation, being in this body. So this is what this body is of this earth, and this earth and this body have that kind of potential. That's what we should know. And finally, the symbolism relating to bringing the calf to milk means, calf means, in Sanskrit it is called vatsa. Vatsa. Vatsa is a symbolic expression of vatsara. Vatsara means a time cycle. Vatsara is a time cycle. Through cycles of time, many things can be brought here. Through cycles of time, many things can be related to. You can relate, as I said the other day, by relating to the cycle of Mars, cycles of Venus, cycles of Saturn, cycles of Moon. Cycles of Moon are the shortest of the cycles. We are unable to follow actually. To follow the moon cycles, to follow the sun cycles, to follow the cycles of Venus, to follow the cycles of Mars. If you, as I said, if you wish to, the Mayans, they followed the cycles of Venus to experience immortality. To follow the path of immortality, they adapted to the cycles of Venus. How Venus is transiting the sun sign. It's a beautiful concept. The Venus leads us to immortality. It leads us to the subtle side of our being. It leads us to the subjective side of our being. It gives all, the Venus carries all the knowledge relating to the subjective side of our being. So that's why Mayans, apart from solar cycle, they were also following the Venetian cycle. And they call the path of Venus as the path to death. The path to death. I visited almost all pyramids of Mexico. Not only Mexico City, but also Mexico nation. The highway which leads you to the final pyramid, it is called the path of death. Path of death means path to immortality. You pass through the path of death to reach immortality. And their main temple which they build is that of Venus. And their priest temple is called Mercury. It is ruled by Mercury energies. So what ultimately Prithu has done should be understood as he has established different cycles of time in relation to earth, so that the related energies are linked eternally to this planet. Eternally to this. See, when you speak of moon cycles, I spoke of the humor of the mind, you remember? Which depends upon the moon phases. The moon cycles have to be followed. Today, what is the phase of the moon is important to note. Sixth phase of moon today. In what constellation moon is, we have to see. It is Uttara Phalguni. So what does it mean? This is how you relate to moon cycle. Likewise, where is Venus? Venus is almost very near to sun. You know. Normally, when if you see the daily chart, there is a conjunction of moon and Venus now, sun and Venus now. That means normally Venus gets obscured in the light of sun. That means you are denied of experience. The scorching sun denies the beautiful experiencing of Venus. But still there is a way by which you follow the cycles of Venus, by which you continue to experience the consciousness and even cross over the limitation of death. There are cycles of Mercury. So that's how all these 16 dimensions have their. When I say the cycle of Neptune, I spoke about Neptune. I spoke about Pluto, Yama. Isn't it? So there are different cycles that you can relate to, and through those cycles you can relate to the different energy systems that can be contacted while being on the planet. That's why when we started with Manu. So Manu is the light of the sun. Manu is the light of the sun. It gives us the discriminative will. So when the light of the sun is what we call Mercury in us. Mercury, Buddhi. So if you follow the discriminative will, the laws of Manu are better understood. If you try to learn from the mind, you cannot. People with mind, they try to interpret Manu's laws and started criticizing them, commenting them, even burning the scriptures relating to Manu Dharma, all kinds of ignorant activity happen. We spoke of the Jupiter, that it gives comfort, it also gives knowledge. So there is a Jupiterian cycle that you have to regularly follow. That Jupiter is in Scorpio should always remain with us in our awareness. We should hold these major principles, planetary principles. We all know Jupiter in Scorpio, isn't it? If Jupiter is in Scorpio, how is it relevant to us? We should take it that Jupiter is in our Mooladhara. What more you want? Jupiter, who is exalted in Pisces, is now in Mooladhara, meaning in 5 years' time he can lead you to Sahasrara. The transits are such: Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. In 4 years from now, he is already in Scorpio. So is that not an advantage that the cosmic teacher, Brahaspati means he is the teacher of celestial. Jupiter. The Jupiter principle, when it is with you in your Mooladhara, next year he gets to Sagittarius, higher Mooladhara. Next year he is into Capricorn, into your heart center. And the next year to Aquarius, top of your head. And the next year to Pisces. So if you follow Jupiterian cycle and the Jupiterian wisdom and the Jupiterian law in tune with the cycle of Jupiter. When was it last in Scorpio? In 19? If it is today is 2018, it was in 2006. Before it was in 94. So every 12 years he makes a cycle. So we can make a program for 12 years. When Jupiter transits your ascendant, or when Jupiter transits your birth moon, or when Jupiter transits your birth sun. From birth sun you can have a Jupiterian cycle, and from ascendant you can think of it, from moon you can think of it. Establish a program for a period of 12 years with the help of Jupiter. And then you have Neptune. I spoke of Neptune, the place of Neptune, above the pro-center where you get the transcendental experience. Chandra meaning moon in solar plexus, Shukra or Venus in the heart, Neptune at the forehead, above the brow center, and then Soma. So remember this name. Soma is being with the male-female god. Sa Uma, Soma. Male-female god is in the Pisces. So male-female god, from that state of absolute samadhi to the state of transcendental experiences of Neptune in the brow center, to the joy of being, experiencing the subjective side of being in the heart, and the happiness of relating to the objective life. That's how you have moon, Venus, Neptune and Soma, the hierarchy of experience. So that can be, see, what is the cycle of Neptune, you know better. 14 years in one sun sign, no? How many years it takes? Neptunian year is something like 168 years. One lifetime is not sufficient. One lifetime is not sufficient. But relating to Neptune is relating to Maitreya. Because he is the being on the planet that can give us his presence when we relate to the Neptunian energies. Or when we relate to him, he gives us the energies of Neptune. So this is how we have to make a practical application of wisdom. And then when we speak of the moon cycles, we should speak of the 28, 29 days of every month. For certain purposes, we need to follow the moon cycle. It's not enough if we follow only the sun cycle. How do you follow the moon cycle? From new moon to new moon. From new moon to new moon. Likewise, sun cycle, from Aries first degree to again Aries 0 degrees. The sun cycle with the subcycles of every transit of sun sign, every 21st, 22nd of month. The sun transits from one sun sign to the other. The moon also transits every 2.5 days one sun sign. It's important for us. Where is moon today? We should be able to recapitulate. It is in Virgo. What does it mean to us? Depends. Moon in Virgo, what aspects it makes in relation to our chart and the planetary placements in our chart. This kind of application yields knowledge and the related experience. We cannot just leave them in the charts. Every day in the Valteacher temple, a chart is made. And since all people don't regularly come here, we even send the chart through the app so that each one can see the chart and know where is what, and how it relates to us. Because that is the chemistry. There is the chemistry of the day, and your chemistry, they have to be matched. Because you are in the bigger system, that chemistry prevails on you, but you have your own individual chemistry. So this chemistry has to be matched with the other chemistry. By that we have the possibility of avoiding certain conflicts and experiencing the harmony. That's how we use. So there is also the moon cycle, and then we have the sun cycle just mentioned, the warmth of the sun. We spoke about the energy of sun being linked to earth, sun cycle with its 12 sun signs, we have to, is established. Not that we relate, Prithu has established it. So we can also follow these time cycles. And then we have the Kapila, isn't it? You know the time of Kapila, the cycle of Kapila is unimaginably big. It is unimaginably big. It has 60,000 years. The cycle of Kapila is 60,000 solar years. 60,000 Saura Samvatsram. We have a cycle of 60 years. We have a cycle of 60 years, which is 1,000th of Kapila. 1,000th of. What kind of a grand energy that is? It has touched down upon earth and it gave wisdom first. The first teaching on the planet is by Kapila to his mother Devahuti. And we have the teachings of Kapila given out in a small book. Just the someone has, Kapila spoke about the devotion, the path of bhakti, the path of jnana, knowledge, and then the yoga, and then vairagya, detachment. The four he synthesized into an integrated yoga. Bhakti, jnana, yoga, vairagya, four together. And he is very much in the deepermost point of the earth. Deepermost point of the earth. So that's how the Kapila energy is available, which has a cycle of 60,000 years. And then we also have Vidyadharas. I spoke of the Vidyadharas to you. The intelligences which are embodied with the wisdom relating to the universe. How do we relate to them? Through Mercury. Through Mercury, if you follow the cycle of Mercury, you can relate to wisdom in a much better manner. That's why cycles of Mercury are very important. Like cycles of Venus. And again I spoke to you about the Plutonian cycle. With Pluto presiding over it. I spoke how the energies of Pluto are linked to Earth during Lemurian time. And then you have to follow the Plutorian time, which is about 5,040 years it has a cycle. The cycle of Pluto is 5,040 years. Which you will know, because you know how much, what is the to transit a sun sign, how much time Pluto takes into 12 if you make it. Like that Neptunian years. So all these coughs which I say, meaning the energies that were milked to benefit the earth and the earthly beings. It has all in relation to the different time cycles. So almost, as I said in the very morning, this tissue of blood as is prepared with the energies of an earth in the head to relate to blood system in us and ensure its purification. We follow the cycle of Kumara, which is called Angaraka or Kuja or Mars. That's why Mars is inextricably linked with blood. If your Martian activity, meaning your dynamic activity, if it is full of goodwill, your blood purifies itself. Since it is mixed in our thoughts, there is goodwill, there are also other thoughts, so that's why the blood is not all that pure. But initially, when the sons of will, sons of fire, when they descended on the planet during the Lemurian times, They came with the best of the blood. That's why it is said in all scriptures, the royal blood. The royal blood is the blood coming from the higher circles, full of purity. Then it gets mixed up with the other, the two channels of beings that came through. This is in the very beginning I told you. Through churning of the thighs and through churning of the shoulders. Symbolically, from Gemini and from Sagittarius, the beings are brought. So the two mix. See, the royalty is mixed with the commons. And then there is an admixture of blood. That's why we all carry different ranges of purity of blood. According to the purity of blood, there is purity of thought and purity of consciousness. And accordingly, we are graded into 7 grades. That's how the 7 races are there on the planet. So this activity, it all came through during Lemurian times, and all these cycles, as many cycles as we can relate to, if you start relating to them, slowly there is the related unfoldment of wisdom. Thereby we grow in our, there would be a great expansion of consciousness to us, which would enable us to relate much better to the planet and to the beings of the planet. So it's about 11 o'clock now. So we conclude. And the Anurag, please come. I have already spoken of you. This is the young man, he is here. His name is Anurag Saxena. పొద్దున ఒక 15 minutes వాళ్ళకి చెప్పాను మీ గురించి, మీరు చేస్తున్న పని కూడా. I told them what you are doing and they will relate to you. And Ravi Shankar, and this is Mr. B.R.K. Razu. He is the secretary of the World Teacher Trust. He is generally well informed of the purpose of the activity that we do. So you will all retire to the other building. They will come and meet you and you can make you're welcome. So we'll meet again at 4 o'clock on the terrace. Okay? Let us say 4:30. 4:30 to have a plum cake, a German-like cake, and then some tea or coffee, and get back for our prayer here. Okay? And tomorrow there will be there are still 3 more sessions of teaching. I will take to another dimension relating to Prithu. We have covered 2 dimensions. The quality that has manifested in the name of the Emperor Prithu, and then the work he has done in relation to planet and the planetary beings. These are the 2 dimensions. The 3rd dimension is the people, the beings relating to him, and he advises the people how to relate. The 4th dimension is the teaching that came through Sanat Kumara via Prithu, which is already given to you in the form of teachings of Sanat Kumara. These are the 4 dimensions. 2 dimensions we covered. The 4th dimension was covered much earlier. The 3rd dimension I will narrate in the next 3 classes. Thank you. Namaskar.